If I was Mo Salah, I would be annoyed with the Europeans. I'm not saying that Liverpool is not a European city. In a literal sense it is, in a Brexit sense it isn't. But Mo Salah is still being overlooked. Yes, there is a big push in the media, and it's because he's basically become undeniable. The 100 goals at home thing, the list of names that he's now listed alongside is just an undeniable name of lists, and he fits perfectly on it. But he's often overlooked, A, because he comes from the Arab world, B, because he's a Muslim, C, because he had an initial run in the Premier League, which a lot of people painted as unsuccessful, and therefore London media decided to just turn their backs on him and didn't really want him to succeed anyway. Otherwise, because other fans also thought, well, I'd have loved a player like that at my club, and so very often his legacy is spoken down. He's also a very functional player who basically, there's a lot of functionality about his game, and that seems very evident very often, and so people characterize him in that way rather than in a positive way, which I think a lot of people, it means they don't understand him in the way that Liverpool fans understand Mo Salah, and also he scored a lot of good goals against any of your teams. He's basically taking you apart if you're in the Premier League, and he's probably taking you apart if you play in the Champions League as well. This guy is prolific. He is generational. He is someone who we will very much struggle to replace in the long term at Liverpool. But that's the whole point. You won't try and replace Mo Salah. You don't try to replace the greats. You shift the emphasis, you do other things. But that's not the point here. Mo Salah is on an all-time Ballon d'Or run, and you are not paying attention to it. Vinicius should not be claiming, I mean, maybe that's the problem with where the Ballon d'Or is voted for, right? Salah historically always comes into form around the time when the Ballon d'Or is sort of coming out and those kind of things, and it's just not the same, right? There's no one else putting up these numbers right now. He is, let me just grab this, right? Let me just grab this stat for you because I think it's worth reading. And it's a really fun stat. I need to just find the right one. Yeah, there it is. No, wait, is it that one? No, it isn't that one. Although there is a good story on another channel that I will tell later, is this one. The only players with 18 plus goals and 15 plus assists ever before Christmas, Mo Salah and Lionel Messi. Mo Salah now has the double digits before Christmas. Who's the other player's record that he beat with that? It was Wayne Rooney. He's not, like, here's the problem. Before, Mo Salah's lists were all wingers, and they were all people who were Premier League greats. Thierry Henry, Alan Shearer. And he was young still. He was seemingly in the middle of his career, and it was sort of like, well, he'll tail off in the end. He hasn't tailed off, guys. This guy's just continued, and he's been performing better than these other people. The greats that we always talk about, the people we always say that we love, the people that we often just go, oh, well, they are one of the greats, and that's just undeniable. Wayne Rooney is an undeniable great in the Premier League. Alan Shearer is an undeniable great in the Premier League. These are people, by the way, who very often also weirdly got overlooked for the Ballon d'Or. Very strangely, that like Wayne Rooney never was a Ballon d'Or receiver, like maybe because he exists in that era. But now we're just shifting expectations. The Ballon d'Or has changed. Real Madrid for a while ran it, but Rodri winning it this year means that Salah is very much within the shout zone for this and should have been on that 30 in this past year. Even though Liverpool fell away towards the end of the season, blah, 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 the level we were playing at, blah, 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 blah. Mo Salah should be within that shout. He should stay within Europe with Liverpool and win a Ballon d'Or. He would become undeniable if he was to win another Premier League, not that I'm taking it for granted at this point, and he would truly become undeniable if they have a great Champions League run outside of this group stage. This was a prolific group stage that Liverpool went on, and Salah again has been fantastic this year for us. I don't need to talk to you about stats, I'll just talk to you about its impact on the game. Mo Salah has gravity. Mo Salah has charisma. The things that you think he doesn't have, he has. The goal against Leicester was another great piece of evidence as to why Mo Salah is a great. He threaded a needle to get that ball in the far side of the net. Around a goalkeeper, sure, who's making his debut, whatever, and through a couple of players who were exhausted because they've been playing against Mo Salah. We don't say of Vinicius Jr., yeah, but he plays in a really good team and the system makes the best of him. Yeah, that's how systems and teams work. He plays for Real Madrid, one of the greatest resourced teams in Europe. It's no different to what Mo Salah is doing. What Mo Salah is doing is probably even more prolific. It is more prolific than what Vinny is doing right now. He's doing it in a league where pressing is even more difficult, where the quality of the centre-backs is very, very high, where week in, week out, he is not just doing a training session. He is playing real football. And there are other players who are playing well in Europe right now. Do not get me wrong. There were other people who do great. There are other people who started on a hot streak this season. But Mo Salah has continued that. He posted that Christmas picture. Screw you if you don't like the Christmas picture. He then posted a great goal. And frankly, should have probably posted more in the game against Leicester. His run is all time. And in the same way that people win Oscars later in their careers for movies they're not meant to, or movies that, this is our opportunity to give it to him. This is our opportunity to appreciate Mo Salah. To appreciate someone who seemingly when he joined Liverpool was a 10-goal-a-season player, was someone who was going to play off Firmino, was going to provide for other people, but has made a position and a role his own and is edging his way into that Premier League all-time 11. Just just slowly elbowing everyone else out of the way. Mo Salah is not only that, but he is now changing roles within the Liverpool team as well. He has always been a leader, but he is even more of a leader since we've lost Hendo and Fabinho, and since Robbo has begun to age a little bit, and since the midfield has completely shifted to a younger set of players. Salah is now a lighthouse out there. He is the guy that they look for. He is who Darwin Núñez runs towards. He's who Gravenberch has always got an option for. Well, he does and he doesn't. There's always that space created by Salah that then Gravenberch can pass into the space immediately next to that. He's who makes the space for Jota to score his goals. He's the one who threads that pass through. He's the one that makes the run while Trent is making the cross. He's the one that makes the run while Trent is making the pass into Salah. He's the one that people always run towards because you cannot ignore Mo Salah out in the field. All of these things are not the little trick that Vinny Jr. does every now and again. And yes, he's a good player. They are not the cute finish that Vinny Jr. does every week, or where he goes around a goalkeeper who's clearly not fit for any other league in Europe outside of La Liga. He's doing all of that. And weirdly, he's still underappreciated. Frustratingly, he's still underappreciated. He's doing it in the cold. He's doing it in these most difficult of scenarios where he's kicked off the ball almost daily, where if Vinny Jr. goes down in La Liga, and I'm saying Vinny Jr. just, it's not even a criticism of him, it's just he would be the guy that Real Madrid put forward next year for the Ballon d'Or yet again. Salah's name wasn't even on that list. Not in a respectful way, anyway. If Vinny goes down, he gets the free kick. Salah doesn't. Salah gets told to get back up. More often than not, Mo Salah is told, nope, not this time. And he has to just soldier on. Because that's what we do in the Premier League. That's what we do in the greatest league in the world, outside of the Champions League. Slot can help Salah win this. I think a lot of people thought, and this is why I'm talking about his run, that Klopp made Salah, and that player would fall away when Klopp left, and all we had to do was just wait it out, and yeah, he won't even be that good. Watch him, he'll go to PSG and just sort of while his days away. Bear in mind, by the way, if he did go to PSG or Real Madrid and he signed on a free, and I think he'd be... Weirdly, Europe would suddenly go, yeah, you can win a Ballon d'Or now. Because he'd be at an institution where they acknowledge it. And I get it, the Michael Owen thing, we've had Ballon d'Or winners before, we've had people who've been appreciated in Europe, we've had Rush go to Juve, he wasn't particularly appreciated while he was there, but you get my point. We've had other players leave Liverpool, Hamburg bound, other people wanted Liverpool players for years. Michael Owen won it. He won it because of Gerard Houllier was the reason why. And Gerard Houlier's plug in French football gave him that Ballon d'Or. It's not the same thing. Mo Salah has had to battle his way in. He's now surpassed Michael Owen. He's surpassed all other right wingers. He's surpassed other goal scorers in Liverpool. He's even surpassed Steven Gerrard in terms of prolific goal scoring and attacking records. So give him something to recognise that. Mo Salah deserves to be holding that ball. Mo Salah is an institution at Liverpool. And outside of just being that goal scorer for Liverpool, his other players improved massively. Under Slot. The Klopp argument was always there, like I said. But the Slot argument, a lot of people sort of went, under Arne Slot, what's his output going to be? It's even more prolific. They're playing even more towards his strengths. Slot is getting even better results out of him. And it's undeniable. That's an undeniable fact. And to win a Ballon d'Or, you have to be undeniable. Am I not wrong? Salah is an undeniable element in football, and there aren't many of those right now. Now, some of you will be saying, well, in the second half of the season, he drops off, blah, blah, blah. There is no AFCON this year. There is no momentum disruptor. Maybe Mo does drop away if he's been very prolific in the early half of the season. But he's put in an early half of the season. If Liverpool wins something this season, you have to acknowledge him. He has to be acknowledged with the greatest prize for an individual in European football, at least at the moment, outside of the Best Awards. And he'd be the second African to win it after George Weah. The fact that only one African before him has won it, maybe slightly damning, possibly shows the media bias, but also possibly shows, like, Europe is still waking up to some of these things. Weirdly, Salah almost came a generation too early. Saudi getting into it, Qatar getting into it, they couldn't capitalize on the Salah hype. But if he was coming through now, if Salah was like 24 now in Europe, the Saudis would be all over him. Qatar would be, everyone in the Middle East would be all over him. Not that they're not already, but they will be all over him in terms of, see, this is what this part of the world, if you want to start talking about this part of the world in that xenophobic style, or as a kind of a, oh, will you claim him now kind of way, can do. And boy, is that satisfying. Boy, is that good. But that's kind of my thing here, guys. Like, it's just a generational thing. Salah was being compared to Messi and Ronaldo, and now he's doing things that only Messi and Ronaldo were doing. So start talking about him like that. I know, marketing-wise, he was never pushed by Adidas in that way. Marketing-wise, he was very rarely actually pushed by Liverpool in that way, really, because we had Mane, we had Firmino, we had a lot of egos in the team, we had Hendo, we had Virgil, and he wasn't that kind of, he was kind of a self-evident marketing piece, if that makes sense. He would just sit back and kind of, he'd be happy to be part of it because there is a humble element to Salah. But you don't get through this without having that ego, without wanting to prove other people wrong. I think Salah deserves that recognition now, does he not? There'll be people shouting about like, well, oh, you don't watch La Liga week in, week out. I watch a lot of La Liga, but I don't watch it week in, week out. I hope he resigns, and then I hope we go on to win something. And then I hope he goes on to win the Ballon d'Or. You could say that I'm counting chickens at this point. But actually what I'm doing is saying that Salah is at the beginning of a run towards the Ballon d'Or. He's on his way towards an MVP. These are prolific numbers, guys. And I think it's so worth contextualizing that. He's up there with Messi and Ronaldo in terms of output right now. That's so special. We're living through it. We're sharing the planet at this specific moment. Other people have come before and will come after, and they won't know Mo Salah in this capacity. They won't know him in this context. They'll know him in other ways that, when he's an ambassador of the game or whatever, or he suddenly represents whatever part of the world people want to attach him to. That's what they'll know him as. We know him as Mo. Boy, is that good. Anyway, I appreciate you guys looking in. Thanks a lot for watching. Let me know. Do you think Salah's on a Ballon d'Or run here? Do you think he's already earned himself a Ballon d'Or? Should he really, actually realistically have been more close on that list last year? I appreciate you guys looking in. I appreciate Liverpool fans sticking around as always. And sorry we don't put more clips on this. I know there's a lot of people have started to put clips on their channel, but I just don't F with the clips because I don't want to get content struck for a start. But also, it's not that kind of analysis, is it? This is all narrative. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I will chat to you in a little while. Patreon down there if you appreciate the work we do and you want to give something at this time of year. Discord down there as well. I'll chat to you later. Much love. Bye.